All right, cheers and welcome everyone. This is Happy Hour with the Lincoln, episode number 33, and it's been a wild, wacky roller coaster of a ride on Wall Street. We've seen almost a 10% correction in the market, and for a lot of you, you haven't seen anything like this because it's been a long time. We've talked about that in a couple of the past whiteboard lessons and these happy hours. I think it was just last week we said it's been over 400 and some days before we've ever seen a 5% correction in the market. And here we are around 10%. So, I mean, this is something that a lot of people haven't seen. And not only have they not seen something like this, you're used to seeing the market come back. That's where that BTFD cult crowd came from in the first place, is because you've had some sell-offs like 2010, 2011, I think it was a flash crash. Market drops like 1,000 points, snaps right back. You had Brexit, market drops for 2 days, right back, right? And then the election, you know, it's doom and gloom, and the next day the market drops back to an all-time high. So everybody's expecting that every time they see a flush or a flash crash, that BTFD crowd's going to come in and save the day. You got the Fed chair going, we ain't ever going to see another, that's not only how she talks. We ain't ever going to see another financial crisis in our lifetime. That's my lame attempt at a puppet, you know. You got politicians, you know, the market goes up every day, sucker, what are you doing? And you get this feeling like it's always going to be that way. But you know, this is what the market does. It goes through cycles. Now, if you're going to say, are we going to go down forever from here? No. As a country, we'll unite. We'll bounce at some point in the grand scheme of things. 5, 10, 20 years down the road, doesn't matter. No. We came back from the dot-coms. We came back from the financial crisis. We can handle this. But this is just what markets do. They go through these cycles. And like I said, unfortunately, some of you are learning this firsthand, and sometimes learning by experience is brutal and it's painful. As you'll see from some of these questions today, I hate to have to address this, but that's why we're here. Because trading is all about your psychological profile, your psychological being. And some of you are being tested right now. And like I said, strategies are easy to learn. They're easy to learn. This is what makes you a trader. This kind of market action puts hair on your chest, changes your whole perspective. And we're going to try to deal with that, you know, just head on here and try to make some of you better traders and deal with the current market conditions. So let's just get right into it. As I said, I hate hearing some of these, but if we don't discuss these and we don't deal with these, how are we going to grow? How are we going to become better? We learn through our failures, not our successes. So anyway, leveled. I hate the way that starts out. I just got leveled in this market correction. I went long SVXY on that post-market flush at $33. And now it's down to 18. Should I sell it, or do you think it will come back? Well, I don't know if many of you know about SVXY. I'm sure if some of you are in the trading circles, you're completely aware of what's going on there. I'm going to put the chart up here so you can see it. This is a VIX instrument, market volatility ETF. Just got plummeted. It was like $140, I think it was. Trades all the way down to 10 as I'm doing this thing, around $10 or $11 as I'm doing it now. Now, far be it for me to judge, but there's a couple of things here. I can't advise someone on whether or not they should keep this position or cut the position. I don't know what portion of your portfolio this is. I don't know how much money you have allocated to this position. So without that, it's hard for me to say, yeah, get rid of it. Now, just looking at it dollar-wise, going from a $33 to 18, if you still have it, it's down at 10, you probably let it go too far. Okay, that's just something we all make a mistake. I'm not judging. Again, that's something that we go through. We do that a few times and then we learn from our mistakes. That's all we can really do in this case. But one of the things we got to talk about when it comes to SVXY, I'm not an authoritative trader to discuss SVXY because I don't really understand the instrument myself. I tend to trade what I know, stocks I'm comfortable with, like Tesla, like Nvidia, like Netflix. It's not that I hate other stocks or I disagree with other people's way to make money. It's just I don't trade something I don't understand. Now, if you remember, I did a whiteboard not too long, I think it was like a week ago, where I mentioned that Warren Buffett doesn't trade in things that he doesn't understand. And you'll notice that most pro traders are very specific in their strategy, and they're very specific. So if you don't understand, I can't say this person did or they didn't understand the instrument, but a lot of people didn't. And that's why it ended up getting the way that it did. You know, that thing was a mess, and a lot of people got butchered, and I'm sure a lot of people, you know, really are going through some serious pain. I mean, that's the kind of stuff people kill themselves over. It was a murderous mess, to say the least. But one of the things we all have to do as traders, even if we don't know the instrument and we make that mistake, what's happening in this market shows you what rule number one is. And that rule number one is you are a risk manager. Risk is your number one job as a trader. Controlling risk, not profiting, controlling risk. Because at any given moment, things can get out of hand like this. You know, like for example, people trading Win. I've always loved Win. Fortunately, I wasn't in Win, but the sexual harassment allegations come out. Look what happened to the stock. It just blood everywhere on that thing. Market's coming down, not snapping back. The thing is, people get complacent, like we said in the beginning, and they think it's going to continue to go up. But this is what markets do. They come back down. So to answer this question, number one rule is don't trade something that you're not familiar with. You know, you make money by learning stocks, learning the intricacies of certain financial instruments, and trading that process to the best of your ability. That's how you end up making money. In all events, in every event, you've got to control risk. That's what we're doing, because it just takes one trade. I mean, this market correction wiped out 4 months of gains. So if somebody had one stock that they held, you know, just a general stock across the board, they bought it in October, and they watched it go up every day until, you know, late January. I'm going to spill my drink. I'm getting so excited. Then they lost all their gains in just a couple of days. Like they say, you know, stocks take the staircase up, the elevator down. You always got to be managing risk. So unfortunately, I hate to hear that story. I feel for you. I've been in that situation. That's why I'm here today. I know you feel like you just want to jump off the roof of a building or drink some rat poison. I mean, I've had days like that. I understand exactly how you feel. But the only thing you can do right now is learn from that mistake. That's the only thing you can do. You've got to learn from it and move on, and that will make you, trust me, it may hurt now, but it'll make you better. It'll make you better in the long run. So next question comes from YouTube, my YouTube viewers. I've been day trading for a year now, but I haven't really made any money. I've been studying a lot. I've been learning more setups, money management, finding trending stocks. But lately, I've been doubting myself and second guessing. This leads me to sit on my hands and miss out on some really good trades. Well, I can understand that too. Now, what usually happens in there is there's two things. I'm going to go with the number one most popular. I'm not going to say that this particular trader is suffering from this, but I'm going to say if that is you, you have one big problem that's overhanging. Fear. You got the fear cloud, right? What does fear get created from? Stuff like SVXY. You know, I've been through this situation, like I said. When I learned how to trade in 2003 and 4, well, let me back up. I started trading in 99, 01. I made some good money. But I didn't know what I was doing. I got caught in the dot-com thing. I'm not going to run you through that whole gamut. But, you know, I went back to the drawing board. I learned from my mistakes. I studied. I come up with a strategy. But so much damage had been done to my psychology then that I wasn't able to come back. I had pulling the trigger issues. I had fear issues. I couldn't let my gains run. I was a nervous wreck. And this is why I've always highlighted education in the beginning for traders. Because if you screw up one time in your early career, like let's say somebody just started trading, their first trade was SVXY, their first weekend. Do you think that person's going to end up being a trader? I mean, really, the damage that's done to that person, even if they learned everything about stocks, they're toast upstairs. You follow what I'm saying? So one of the reasons that you don't pull the trigger is because you've been slapped around, smoked, and burned in the past, okay? That's number one. So what you have to do is understand that you are learning. You've learned how to trade. That's not going to happen anymore. You have to believe that what you have learned, the time that you've put in, what you have studied and your process and all that is good enough that you may lose, but you're not going to get burned. And as long as you know there's not going to be a lot of damage, like you know, you're not going to lose a lot of money in a trade, you're going to be more apt to take chances. You know, you won't fear. You only fear something that you can't control. If you can control your risk, like we said, control is number one, controlling risk is number one. If you can do that, there should not be any fear. The second part of that would be that process. If you don't believe in your process, you know, you haven't tested it long enough, you're going to have some fear issues. So basically, to answer this question, it goes back to risk. If you can manage risk, there should not be fear. You shouldn't be afraid, okay, if you believe in your process. If all else fails, the easiest way to overcome this is through position size. If you lower your position size enough, and don't focus on making money, just focus on just getting in a rhythm of making trades and being robotic that way, that'll work better for you. I know it sounds crazy, but we say that all the time. Position size is the secret to all risk management. It's the secret to getting over fears. Just lower that position size. I don't care if it's one share, just take the trade. If you think it's a good setup, it fits your plan, take the damn thing. Even if it's just 5, just take the trade. You've got to do that. So we move on to our last question here, and it is, what is the best trade? What is the best stock to use for day trading? I'm looking for a good day trading stock. What do you guys trade over there? I'm going to tell you what I trade. No, I'm just messing with you. Well, it's hard for me to say what's good for you. I don't know what your strategy is, so it's very difficult for me to recommend a stock. The only thing I can say is that when you're looking for a day trading stock, you want something that's under momentum. Now, we talked about this in a couple of whiteboards. You got stocks that go through cycles and stuff like that. We mentioned Apple as an example that, in 2013, 14 was good years to trade Apple. But since then, it's just kind of Apple. At one time, Microsoft was a good intraday trader, but that thing hardly ever moves enough intraday to give you. So you're looking for something that has some great alpha intraday, $1, $2. I like stocks like Tesla, Nvidia, Netflix. They give you some good movements, both directions, in and out. They're easy to borrow if you want to short, easy to get in and out with liquidity. That's what I look for. But again, I don't know what somebody else looks for. But just as a baseline, you want to find something that has momentum, that there's a lot of buyers and sellers. That way you can get in and out of the trade and you can make money on both sides, and that will often change. So maybe in a couple years Tesla won't be worth a damn to trade intraday. It'll just be a great investment, or who knows, according to social media, it'll be 300 one week and $2 the next. I don't know, but they go through cycles. Anyway, guys, stay safe out there. It's been a wild week. If you need some help, visit thelincolnlist.com. Trade with us live. As always, be safe, take care. Until the next one, cheers.